On 621 here at the Big 550 KTRS, Paul Harris with Kelly Jackson. McGraw will be back from vacation tomorrow. For the last several days, we've been talking quite a bit about Cecil the lion, the well-known tourist attraction who was killed at the beginning of July by a dentist from Minnesota named Walter Palmer. We still don't know exactly what the legal status is there. The Zimbabwean government is trying to extradite him. The State Department hasn't said exactly what's going to happen. I do know that one of the poachers who helped Palmer kill Cecil the lion, his trial has been postponed in Zimbabwe until September. But speaking of poaching, we've got another story this morning out of Africa about African elephants. And for that, we're going to go to ABC News' Tom Rivers, who joins us live now with that report. Good morning, Tom.
Good morning, Paul. Yes, you're absolutely right. It's another seizure, and this one was in Zurich Airport a few weeks ago, but it just came to light actually yesterday. And the numbers are pretty staggering. In 8 suitcases, they found Ivory hitting the scale at about 578 pounds, broken into nearly 200 pieces, looking for 3 Chinese businessmen. They are not in custody. And it's kind of the latest, if you will. There's a number of these busts that they've had over the past 2 years, around 18 of this size. And this particular one, the experts say this ivory would have come from 40 to 50 elephants.
Wow.
So a lot of large beasts out there. And also contained in the luggage, they found, sadly, 21 lion fangs and 35 lion claws. So this trade, this illegal trade carries on.
It's an illegal trade because the elephants are endangered, aren't they?
Yeah, it's not a case where, like the rhinoceros is really teetering on the edge. There's more elephants, but, it's not in the, we have to cull the elephants because there's too many. They've got problems with elephants as well.
You mentioned that this was 3 Chinese men who were carrying all this ivory. Was that bound for China?
Correct. That seems to be the magnet these days, early part of the 21st century, and it's the growing middle classes there. And the way to confront this is education. But, of course, that takes time and a bit of an effort. And they want things like jewelry. You fill in the blank. They want something to put in their homes. And it requires someone to say, look, you keep doing this, one day there's not going to be any elephants left.
So this got all the way to Zurich. Does that mean that in Africa there's nobody policing this?
I suppose, if you have enough money, you can grease the wheels and get it through various airports, et cetera, et cetera. But again, it shows up in places like Zurich, and that's where they're stopped. Oftentimes as well, they're stopped in places in the Far East, in Hong Kong, et cetera, et cetera. And the Chinese actually last year said they're going to start cracking down on this. Now, there's been nothing in practical terms that we can see, but at least the government is speaking the right language, if you will, in Beijing.
Do you know if other countries, including the United States, ban the importation of African ivory?
Yeah, a lot. There's a growing list. Most of the Western countries have banned it. But this illegal trade, this stuff is moved through, and I suppose if you have the right connections, people look the other way and they try to get this kind of material through things like airports and ports, etc. But in this case, yet again, this was stopped, and this will be destroyed. But of course, the sad tale is 40 to 50 elephants had to die for this.
You mentioned also lion. I can't remember if you said lion or tiger.
Lion teeth.
Lion teeth. Is that
Yep.
something that's also kind of hot for these illegal poachers?
Yeah, they use these as talismans, and they think that they will empower the person wearing these kinds of things. So it's a nasty trade, and as I said at the top, it all has to boil down to education and getting people to think differently, because it's not a situation like they're not farming these creatures, and one day kids or grandkids are not going to know what an elephant is. They'll just see a picture of one in a book.
Very sad, Tom. Thanks for the report. I appreciate it.
Take care.
Yeah, people getting lion's teeth for good luck, thinking it's going to give them immortality. Didn't work for the lion.
Right, exactly.
And on the subject, we have a report this morning about several of the international airlines including Delta and American and Air Canada, all this week announcing that they will no longer allow people to ship trophies home from the big five category of animals that Americans go over to Africa to kill. That'll be lion, leopard, elephant, rhinoceros, and buffalo heads.
Good.
They can still be shipped home by UPS, which says, look, we take into account a lot of things. We avoid making judgments on the appropriateness of the contents. The shipments have to comply with all laws. We have to have the right documentation, but there's nothing against the law right now about shipping these things home to the United States, and so UPS is going to continue doing it. FedEx does not ship animal carcasses, but the airlines that I mentioned, Delta, American, and Air Canada, are following the lead of United, which was the first one to refuse to transport these big game trophies. United says, we don't do it now, and we haven't done so previously, so it's not like they stopped, but the others are joining them now. So
Good.
maybe that will help. And by the way, it is Americans who are the ones going over there for the most part. According to a report from the International Fund for Animal Welfare, it is wealthy American tourists who account for the majority of lions that are killed for sport. 64% of all African lions killed for sport in the last 10 years were brought home here to America, and Americans make up the greatest number of big game hunters targeting those big five, as well as animals like antelope and zebra, particularly in countries where hunting safaris are really, really expensive. Here's the thing that really makes me mad about this whole thing. I've wanted for a long time to go to Africa on safari, not to hunt,
Right.
but to see.
Yes.
And these idiots are killing off the animals I haven't gotten a chance to see in person yet.
Right. Well, like Tom Rivers was saying, 50 years from now, if people keep killing off these elephants and these other beautiful creatures that are endangered, we only be able to know them from pictures.
Exactly right. Coming up on 628, this is the Big 550 KTRS.
Hi, this is Jeff Lapidus.